Hey, Matt here from epicrealestate.com. And in this video, you're going to learn 3 creative ways to use the word interest in seller finance deals so that you can buy more property using less money. You see, this was essential for me to learn how to do, considering I had barely 2 nickels to rub together and less than a desirable credit score to speak of when I got started investing in 2006. It was with creative seller financing that I added more than 300 units to my cash flowing portfolio and never once had to talk to a bank. So that's my story. But more importantly, let's dive into how you can pull this off and potentially escape the daily grind quicker than most, and even retire early if you want. I mean, anyone can do this, but just most people won't. They're afraid of a little bit of work, and there lies your opportunity, because it's not that much work. As long as you've got the basics down, you can do it. So for an easy place to start, I put a list of 21 creative terms that you can use, along with some other seller financing stuff that you'll find really useful, in the description below. So just click the show more link and that'll all open up for you. All right, let's get started. Seller financing. This is when a buyer gets financing from the seller of a property instead of a bank to buy that property. It's just like if you were to go to the bank for a loan, but you won't be making payments to a bank. No, the seller will give you the loan and you'll make payments directly to them instead. So other than that, it's a normal real estate transaction. Now, when you make your payments to the seller, you can have a lot of say to how your payments are going to be made. You know, this is really important because it can help you control more property and build your passive income without requiring much of your own money. So interest is a payment that you're going to make to the seller above the repayment of the principal amount that they're financing for you. Basically, you're paying more than what the seller is financing for the use of their financing. But you can get really creative with how you pay the seller their interest and tilt a deal much more, in your favor depending on your goal for the property. The first way to make interest work for you is by making interest-only payments. And this is where you pay only the interest on the amount the seller financed for a certain period, with an agreement to pay the principal in a lump sum at a specified date or in subsequent payments. I sometimes like to incorporate interest-only payments to keep my payment low, because that can help me more easily manage the property while I'm fixing it up before I flip it. Or if I intend to hold it for cash flow, the interest-only payments can buy me some time to refinance into a more permanent loan with a bank or private money. Or imagine this: you purchase an investment property with a tenant already in place, but the tenant has been there a while and the landlord had never raised the rent. And because they didn't, the rent won't cover the payment that you're gonna have to make to the seller. So you negotiate interest-only payments to keep the payment low so you can cash flow until the tenant's lease expires. And then you agree to making fully amortized payments once a new lease is in place at the current higher market rent. Another type of interest that you can write into your seller finance deals is deferred interest. Now, this is when the interest on the seller's financing is postponed for a specific period of time, or until the very end of the loan. Now, this is really useful, again, if you're trying to keep the payment low in order to reach your cash flow goal for the property. And you can then pay the deferred interest upon sale or the refinancing of it. Another way that you can use deferred interest to reach a cash flow goal is to split up the interest. For example, the seller wants 6%, but that might cause the payment to be too high and get in the way of your passive income. So you offer to pay 3% interest on your regular monthly payments to the seller, and the remaining 3% later when you sell or refinance the property. Here's another one. I'm holding a seller finance property right now where the seller is going to receive 20% of the profit when I sell the property. But if I word it in our agreement as profit, that makes the seller legally a partner. And that can open up all kinds of problems should something in the deal or the relationship go sideways. So rather than wording it as profit in our agreement, it's written into the seller finance note that the seller is entitled to 20% of the difference between the purchase price and the resale price to be paid as deferred interest. Legally, this removes the seller from partner status and keeps them in lender status. Legally and paperwork-wise, it's a significant difference and way better for you, the buyer. Or here's another. You may negotiate no interest at all as long as the loan balance is paid off by a certain date. And in the event it isn't, interest charges could then start accruing. That might be just enough incentive for the seller to agree to a principal-only loan, my favorite kind. By the way, if you've never done a seller finance deal before, I put this video up here for you to help you with the basics. Also, I post creative stuff like this every week, so you can stay tuned here by clicking the subscribe button to get the latest creative strategies that are currently working in the market. Now, a third creative way to use the word interest in your seller finance deals is escalating interest. And this is when the interest rate increases or escalates over the term of your seller finance loan. And this can be really useful, especially if the seller is stuck on an interest rate that's either irrational or at a rate that turns your deal into no deal. Here, imagine this. You find a great income property and the seller agrees to carry back the financing for you. But the seller wants 8% interest, of which at the time of this recording, that's almost 4 times the going rate at the bank. So you counter back with, okay, Mr. Seller, how about I pay 2% years 1 through 3, 4% years 4 through 6, and then I'll pay 10% for the remainder of the loan term. I like to offer a little bit higher rate at the end than what the seller wanted to make the deal look more juicy to them. But you may be thinking, 10% is outrageous. What are you gonna do then? Probably nothing. You see, there's a very slim chance I ever get that far with this loan because what this structure will allow me to do is contribute more principal to my payments during the 2% period, increasing my equity in the property, of which will position me to easily refinance or sell before I ever get to the 10% interest of year 7. So if the seller snubs your principal-only payment offer, this is a really good runner-up. Now you know 3 creative ways to use the word interest when putting together a seller finance deal. And if you'd like to go deeper in learning how to find seller finance deals and how to present them to sellers so that they're more inclined to say yes, I put some links for you below in the description. Just click the show more link and they're all yours. Pick and choose what you need most right now. So what did you find most valuable? Let me know below too. And who do you know that may also need to see this? When their name comes to mind, please share it with them. Oh, and if you are already subscribed, I went ahead and I pulled this video out special for you to watch next. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Take care.